come on in because I am back for Love is Blind, season 5. We're on episode 9, y'all. We're on episode 9. If you didn't keep watch my last reviews, please go back and watch them. But I'm on to episode 9, y'all. And before we really get into it, I'm feeling kind of shameful, y'all. I'm feeling kind of embarrassed because I think I just fell in love with a 24-year-old. Did my 50-something-year-old self just fall in love with 24-year-old Milton? And is it considered cheating? Is it considered cheating what I'm feeling right now? Because don't nobody tell my husband. Please don't tell my husband, because let me tell you when I fell in love. I fell in love when Milton said, when somebody disrespects me, I show them who the F I am based on my actions. I don't get emotional. I don't scream. I don't yell at them. I said, "Ooh, good Lord." I had to clutch my pearls. I had to clutch my pearls. Let me tell you, Milton, he may be 24 when he leaving these dishes hanging around and food laying on the counter for 2 days and clothes hanging around the house. That is some 24-year-old frat boy kind of stuff. But let me tell you, Milton's mind, the way he thinks, it's some grown man stuff, y'all. It's some grown man stuff. But let me not get too ahead of what I want to talk about, because I do want to talk about it from the beginning. And you did see my thumbnail right. You did see my thumbnail right. And really what I'm saying about this episode is Lydia is trying to emotionally manipulate Milton. And Izzy is trying to love bomb Stacy. I say in both of those things. Lydia is going to her go-to. See, Lydia, we all know she's crazy. We've all said we know Lydia's crazy. All that stuff about Lydia is crazy. But what I'm learning about Lydia is Lydia's actually more immature than Milton. Isn't it ironic that the older woman is actually more emotionally immature than Milton? Because what I learned about Lydia is Lydia tries to emotionally control you. You ever, any of y'all out there, mamas or daddies or anything, you ever have a child, you out in a dignified store, you out in public in a dignified store, and then what your child does is your child falls out, acts a fool, because what your child knows is if they fall out and act a fool, you're going to be embarrassed. And so what you'll do is you'll acquiesce to their emotions and you'll buy them that candy, that toy, whatever they want. They're holding you hostage because what they're saying is, I'm going to act such a fool up in here and you're going to be so embarrassed that eventually you're going to give me what I want because you're not going to be able to handle my emotional outbursts. That's Lydia. Last episode I actually saw it because when Lydia met those parents, that mother and that sister, and she was sitting down with that mother and that sister, Lydia shaped up real quick. See, one of the things I couldn't reconcile with Lydia was how emotionally over the top she is, how emotionally unstable she is. And it didn't jive with me with this geology and STEM major. Remember, y'all, I'm an engineer and I've been around engineers all my life. And I'm not saying that engineers aren't emotional because I'm a woman. I have emotion to you, emotion to me too. But what didn't jive with me is when does that part about Lydia start to come into play? How can she be this overly emotional, but she works every day in the science field, which is based on logic, analyzing things and stuff like that? When I saw Lydia with those parents last episode, what I realized was, Lydia knows how to turn on and off her emotional outburst. She does. She knows how to turn them off just enough to get along in the work world. She knows how to turn them off just enough to get her bachelor's and master's degrees. She knows just enough what to do on her job. Lydia's house is beautiful, so I know Lydia makes good money. Lydia makes good money. But what I noticed about Lydia is, especially in this episode, the amount of emotional manipulation she was trying with Milton. She was really trying to get Milton to respond to this emotional manipulation that she's used to doing with men. And Lydia has a problem in relationships because this is the way she handles things. Because it's kind of like a kid. She falls out, throws temper tantrums, and then what she wants you to do is she wants you to acquiesce to her. Lydia says it over and over again. Over and over again, Lydia says, I need you to understand me. This is who I am. You need to accept me. No, what Lydia is trying to say is, you need to do what I want you to do. You need to give me what I want, because if you don't do what I want and you don't give me what I want, I'm going to make your life hell. And what she does is she tries to hold you hostage emotionally. But when she wants to talk calmly, she knows how to do it. She knew how to do it sitting down with that mama and that sister because she knew they wouldn't tolerate it. And she knows how to do it on her job. And what she tried to do at this dinner, this little last romantic dinner she was supposed to have with Milton, is she tried to start with that emotional BS with Milton, and Milton wasn't having it. Every time she tried to start acting a fool, get loud, have emotional outbursts, Milton sat there and ate his pasta. Even when she got up and she ran out and said, I need a minute, and she went to the other room, Milton didn't chase her. Milton did not run after her. Milton sat there and ate his fettuccine Alfredo with the angel hair pasta. I was cracking up. I said, because Lydia ain't never dealt with no Milton before. Lydia has dealt with the Uches where he meets fire with fire. So when Lydia would act out, Uche would meet her with that same lot of fire. Well, that fire, we know that's combustible. That ain't going to happen. Also, Lydia is used to, probably men, that when she has outbursts, because they don't know what to do with her emotions, they give in to her emotions. But that ain't Milton. Because you know what else Milton has? Milton has a bit of stubbornness in him, and his sister even said it. Milton has a stubbornness in him that says, I'm going to do what I want to do, and you can act a fool all you want to, but I'm not budging. I'm not budging. And even Lydia has seen it in Milton. Lydia said, you're going to do what you want to do no matter what. She's seen it in him. And that part Lydia's afraid of. Because what Lydia is saying is, wow, I can't emotionally manipulate this man. And this is what I'm used to doing in relationships. I'm used to acting such a fool that the Uches take me back. I'm used to acting such a fool that everybody just panders to me and gives me my way because they're tired of hearing my mouth. They're tired of hearing my complaining. Like Milton said, you woke up with a bad attitude. You woke up with a bad attitude before he even opened his eyes and opened his mouth. He says, what's up with that? What's up where you woke up with a bad attitude? She goes, well, I don't like the way you leave dishes on the side of the counter. I don't like this. And it's not that Lydia might not have had some good points, but it's the tactics Lydia uses to solve problems. She tries to solve problems through emotional manipulation, and she tries to act like she doesn't have the words to talk about it calmly, intelligently, and like an adult, and she actually does. She actually does. And what Milton is doing is that I don't mind discussing these problems. I don't mind you expressing yourself and your concerns about me, because honestly, I want to be able to express some concerns about you too. But every time I express a concern about you, you can't be going off. You can't be blowing up in the room, because what Lydia is really trying to do when she blows up, she's trying to end the conversation because she don't want to hear about herself. She's trying to make the situation so uncomfortable that you'll just drop the conversation. But then when she wants to talk to you about yourself, she wants you to listen to her and then do what she says. This girl is manipulative. Manipulative. She uses her fiery personality to manipulate people and situations so they'll do what she wants them to do. We saw her do it with Aaliyah. We saw her manipulate emotionally Aaliyah, make Aaliyah think that she was her friend, and all along what she was doing was she was spying on Aaliyah and Uche. We saw this. Now, does that mean I don't think these two are going to be together? No. Hear me out, people. As much as I know who Lydia is, it doesn't mean I still don't think these two could find a pathway forward. And I think they are. I think they're going to say yes on the wedding day, and I think they're going to get married. Now, here is where it's going to come into play. The choice is going to be Lydia's. The choice is going to be Lydia. Lydia's going to have to realize that the same old tactics she's used on other men and other people and other relationships is not going to work on Milton. She's going to start figuring out that it doesn't work on Milton. It's the same way when y'all out there got these badass kids who fall out in the grocery store with you, but then somebody else keeps your kids, and you say, girl, I just want to let you know, I know he's a handful. He falls out in the grocery store or the store, and then you come back, you pick your kid up, and your friend, your godmother, your aunties, whatever, they say, oh no, he was fine. And you say, what do you mean he was fine? He said, oh, he didn't fall out with me. What do you mean he didn't fall out with you? He said, because he knows he's not going to get away with that with me. He didn't try that with me. He tries it with you because he knows he can get away with it with you. But with me, he don't do that. I told him no once. He looked at me. He looked like he was about to fall out. I looked at him and said, that's not going to work. And he didn't do it. And that's Lydia. Lydia is like a child. Lydia knows who she can get away with stuff with, and she tries it with those people. And let me tell you something. She's going to learn real quick that Milton ain't the one to be played with. Milton is not the one to play with, because that emotional manipulation she's trying and she's done on other people, it ain't going to work with Milton. It's not going to work with him. Not only is it not going to work, Milton ain't going to put up with it. And he's going to tell her that. He's going to tell her that. And when Lydia's going to realize she ain't got no other options. See, Lydia ain't for a lot of people out here. Lydia don't have a lot of options. She does not have a lot of options. Lydia's not going to have a lot of men lining up her door wanting to be with her. And Lydia's going to know that. Lydia's going to know that. There's going to be something where, although Lydia wants to continue this same bad behavior, she's going to say to herself, I really don't have no other options. I'm either going to have to play by the rules of this man, or I'm going to be out here in the world all by myself, because Lydia does not have a lot of options, because not many people are going to have the patience for Lydia. They're not going to want to train Lydia. Lydia thinks she's over here training Milton in household domestic duties. She is. She is going to have to train him. She's going to have to train him to pick up his clothes. She's going to have to train him to put his dishes in the dishwasher, wash his dishes. She's going to have to train him and all those things. But you know what Milton's going to have to train Lydia on? How to be an adult too. The truth of the matter is they both going to have to train each other on how to be an adult, because Milton don't know how to be an adult when it comes to household chores, and Lydia don't know how to be an adult when it comes to her emotions. And they both going to be training each other. I believe it. They both got some growing up to do in different areas, and they both going to have to train each other. Milton said he's the poor communicator. Milton said to his sister, it's ironic that normally he's the poor communicator, but actually when it comes to Lydia, he's the superior communicator. He said, go figure. Go figure that I've now become a better communicator, not because you're better, Milton, but because you're just with a person who's worse. That's really the story. And you know what? He already admitted that he's learning. He already admitted that he's changing some things about himself. He's correcting some things about himself because he's realizing the way he has been, where he just says whatever he wants to say without a lot of emotion, he can't say it that way. He has to choose his words more wisely. He's already analyzing his behavior. He's already seen about himself that won't work with Lydia. And he's already made the commitment to change. That's where Lydia is going to have to get to. Because right now, Lydia is still saying she doesn't want to change. She wants Milton to do all the change. And she wants to stay just where she is so she can be accepted as she is. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. But I think she's going to make some changing. I think she's going to make some change. And I think Milton is going to give her the time and the grace to do it. Because let me tell you something, what Milton said. I told y'all last episode that the reason why Milton likes Lydia is because he's the opposite of his family. And let me tell you, this is a hard pill to swallow for mothers. When your son marries a woman that's the opposite of you, right? That's hard for a lot of mothers to realize, that when their son grew up, that you raised, goes out and marries a woman that doesn't look like you and doesn't necessarily act like you. And what Milton said he's craving in his life is emotion. He didn't get it from his family. There's lots of things he values from his family. He knows he was given a good foundation. He knows he's been given a good head start in life. He knows that his mother and father did an excellent job in raising him. But he's also aware enough to know what he's missing and what that family is missing. And that is, he misses closeness. He talks about the emotional closeness that Lydia has with her family, how she talks to her brother, her sister, her mother every single day, how she lives her life with this passion and emotion. And what he says is, I want that in my life. Do I want all of what Lydia has? No, but I know I need what Lydia has in my life. And that sister knows it too. That's why that sister is so offended. Because what that sister does is that sister looks at Lydia too and says, wow, my brother has fallen in love with a woman who's not like me nor my mother. That sister was up there so-called trying to tell Milton marriage is like a business. Well, that sister is unhappy in her marriage. You could tell that. She might be going through a rough patch. Maybe she's overwhelmed with work and kids, and she's transferring that, projecting that all on Milton. She really is. She needs to pull all the way back. She needs to pull all the way back and be happy for her brother. Because right now, she's trying to make Milton's life look like her life. And she ain't even happy. She's not even happy in her life right now. Maybe she's overwhelmed with motherhood. Maybe she's overwhelmed with work. Maybe she's overwhelmed with things going on in her own marriage. I don't care. But right now, she's starting to sound like a hater. But one thing she knows about her brother, and she said it, Milton does what he wants to do. Milton does what he wants to do. And he said, even if you guys aren't for it, you know more than likely I'll move forward. And I think Milton's going to move forward. Even though he sees these things in Lydia that he doesn't like, he's an engineer. He's going to think he can problem solve it. He thinks he's going to be able to work with her. He thinks he's going to be able to correct the problem. That's what he thinks. That is what he's thinking right now, and he's still thinking it, and he's going to say yes on decision day, and so is Lydia. The key to them making it is Lydia going to be smart enough to know that the emotional manipulation she's used in past relationships isn't going to work on Milton? Is she going to be smart enough to say, I know how to code switch. I really do, because I do it at work. I did it right there in front of Milton's family, and I know how I'm going to be able to, and I know I can do it. Is she going to be smart enough to do it? Is she going to be that little kid that knows that he might manipulate his mother, but he can't manipulate his godmother as auntie, and so he behaves differently? Will Lydia be smart enough to be able to change? Because right now, Milton is getting Lydia all the way together. He's not raising his voice. He's not screaming. He's not yelling. He's constantly reassuring her. She keeps saying, oh, he's judging her. Like he said, I'm not judging you, because if I was judging you, I wouldn't be here right now. Say it, Milton. Say it right now, because people say that all the time. People say that just because you can tell them what you see in them, that means you're judging them. No, because once I judge you, I'm out. See, when I'm just telling you what I see, what I don't like, how I'm feeling about it, that's me just expressing myself. But once I judge you, once I convict you, once I decide that what I think about you, I'm then going to say, walk away from you, then maybe I have judged you. Because now what I've said is, nah. But what he's saying is, hey, I really want to make things work with you. But I see these things right here where this could be a problem with you. It's a matter of concern for me. And me bringing it up doesn't mean I'm judging you. Because if every time I tell you something I don't like about you, you're going to accuse me of judging you, then we're going to have a problem. That means I can never open my mouth. That's emotional manipulation. You're trying to manipulate me emotionally so that I don't tend to my own emotions because I'm so afraid I might hurt your emotions. You see, that's emotional manipulation. When you're going to always play the victim. So now what you want me to do is you want me to be so concerned about your feelings that I disregard my own. Oh no, Milton is saying no, Lydia. That's not going to work. Hold firm, Milton. Hold firm. She's either going to get it or she's not going to get it. I know a lot of you out here think she's not going to get it. A lot of you think that Lydia can't change. A lot of you think that Lydia can't make enough of adjustment that she's going to be able to get along with Milton. And I'm not so sure. Is Lydia going to become a Milton? Absolutely not. And actually, Milton doesn't want Lydia to become him. But he absolutely wants her to move a few degrees from where she is. He does. He needs her to, and she needs to, because the state that she operates in is actually unhealthy. I think they're both going to say yes on the wedding day. I think they're both going to say yes. And I think that Lydia is going to be able to make adjustments. It's going to be slow over time, but I think Milton's going to have patience with her because I think she's going to figure out over the long term that she can't emotionally manipulate Milton. Even Milton's mama and daddy and sister, who he has known all his life and he loves, can't emotionally manipulate him. Because they've been trying. And Lydia better figure out real soon that people think Milton's a pushover. Uche tried Milton. He tried it. He got nowhere. And Lydia's going to realize she ain't going to get nowhere either. I still say these two are going to say a yes on Decisions Day for the next episodes. And now we're moving on to love bombing Izzy. Ooh. If y'all don't see what I've been saying about Izzy, how all Izzy wants to do is go with the woman who loves him the most, because you know what Izzy's doing? He's trying to love bomb the heck out of Stacy. The heck out of Stacy. He's trying to love bomb Stacy with all these fancy riding on the helicopter. Talking about Stacy likes to ride on private jets. Izzy, you don't even have a credit card. You cannot keep this up. The only way you was able even to get on this helicopter is because of you using Netflix's money. That's it. You using Netflix's money. If you were on your own, you wouldn't even had a credit card to put down on the helicopter. They don't accept cash, Izzy. You need a security deposit. And you ain't got no credit card to even do a security deposit. This is going nowhere. Right now, Stacy is wrapped up in the idea of this wedding, wearing this wedding dress, wearing jackets that say Mrs. Zapata, putting on the pretty veil, all the things surrounding the wedding. Stacy's real into this wedding, but what you know she's not going to be into? The marriage. Stacy's going to say no on decision day. Let me tell you right now, Stacy's not going to marry no man that doesn't even have a credit card. She's not going to marry him. It's going to be a no for Izzy. And Izzy's whole game plan this whole time was to love bomb Stacy so that this woman would fall so in love with him that she would overlook all his red flags, that he should have married Johnny. That's who he should have married, because Johnny has a history of overlooking red flags, because what Johnny likes to do is she does like to marry weak men with addictions and all that, because Johnny likes to control men. Izzy should have gotten with Johnny. Johnny would have married Izzy, because then what Johnny would have said is, now I got this man with bad credit who's an emotional wreck, and now I can control him. Just the way Johnny controls addicts, drug addicts, alcoholics, whatever else. And just like she's trying to control that guy she's dating now, which is Chris, which I know that's not going to work. Johnny would have been a better fit for Izzy. Absolutely. But Izzy thinks he's going to love bomb Stacy. Hell to the no. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. Stacy's too logical. She's already putting the pieces together. She sat there and told him, you lied to me. He says, well, I didn't really lie to you. Yeah, you did. Omitting something is a lie by omission. And he's trying to pull the wool over Stacy's eyes. And Stacy says, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. You don't even have a credit card. Izzy ought to know that when he was curled up in that kitchen and she didn't even come give him a paper towel to wipe his tears, that girl went in that kitchen and rolled that paper towel and didn't even take him one to wipe his tears. He sat in there in that closet crying, wiping his tears with a t-shirt that's in the closet. Stacy ain't playing with you, Izzy. This love bombing ain't gonna work. Stacy says it's gonna be a no. Stacy said, I'm all here for going wedding shopping, getting this wedding dress, trying it on, having a makeup artist come. But it's going to be a no on decision day. She ain't going to say yes to Izzy. Absolutely not. Izzy keeps thinking all these grand gestures are going to make the woman want to stay with him. That's probably how he got in debt. Talking about it wasn't that much money. $3,500 is all that made my credit bad. Well, that's even worse. You mean to tell me you lost your whole FICO credit score over $3,500? That's even worse. I would have felt better if you told me it was something big, like $100,000. But to know that you lost your whole credit score over $3,500, that's actually a worse story, Izzy. That means to tell me you didn't even have $3,500. If you would have told me it was $100,000, I'd say, oh yeah, I can see how that could be hard to come up with that money. But now you tell me you couldn't come up with $3,500 to settle your debt? That's actually worse. Izzy probably got in a whole lot of credit card debt, love bombing women, taking women out, blowing up his credit card debt, trying to pretend he's something he's not, spending money he really didn't have because he's too busy trying to pull the wool over women's eyes, love bombing them with expensive gifts, taking them out to dinner, and he couldn't afford none of it. None of it. Fake and phony, trying to pretend he's somebody he's not. I know how he got into credit card debt. We can see it. He's a love bomber. He talking about he wasn't trying to lie about that he didn't have no... He said he wasn't trying to lie that he didn't have no credit card And he was going to tell you, well, you didn't tell me. It is a lie. When you don't open your mouth and tell me something when I specifically asked you, it's a lie, Izzy. It's a lie. Stacy, girl, run. Run, Stacy. Run far, far away. And I know she is. I hope she put on some tennis shoes, some track shoes underneath that wedding dress, because she going to get to that altar and she going to start hightailing it out of there. She ain't going to marry Izzy. Izzy going to be left crying. Just like he was crying in that closet, Stacy going to leave him crying at the altar. Mark my word for it. Anyway, that's it, y'all. Talk to you later. Bye.